You know, there are so many people that want to go back to school, and one of the scariest things that they are going to encounter is going into a math classroom. And I'm not saying everybody, but the majority of people who have not been in school for a while, they're probably thinking, well, where do I even begin? What am I going to do? Where do I even know where to start? And most often when you go in, the counselors will guide you and they will say, well, you're going to have to take a developmental math class because that's where you're at. And that's not always the case, but a lot of times it is. And that's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking a developmental math class because of the fact that you haven't been in school for a while. What I would like to do is I want to help guide you and help you learn or know what you don't know. And that's the number one thing. Well, I don't know if I don't know it. I don't know if I do know it. It's been so long, I don't even know where to begin. So you're in the right place. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about a confidence check. We're going to talk about a diagnostic, and I'm going to give you some hints and some guidelines on what you should do. So stay tuned. Hi, everybody. I'm Marilyn. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to talk to you a little bit about what I've learned over the past 30 years about learning mathematics and what you should do in order to get yourself ready for a math class. Now, the number one thing that you're going to be worried about is, I don't know what I don't know. Okay? And you're probably thinking, well, do I know fractions? Do I know decimals? Do I know algebra? Do I know calculus? Do I know any of this stuff that they're going to be throwing at me in a math class? Probably not. Maybe 15 years ago when you got out of high school, maybe you did take some higher level math classes, and maybe you have been working on it and keeping up with it and everything. But the majority of the time, no. When life gets in the way, you don't know you just don't have time to pick up a math book in the evening and say, oh, well, let me see if I can work a couple of these problems. Now, that being said, I get on Facebook a lot and I watch all of these math problems that are coming up, especially on order of operation. And I love to sit and do those. And it's so funny because I talked to my sister-in-law one day and I said, it's so funny. I watch these all the time and a lot of people are getting them wrong. She said, I have no idea what order of operation is. And every time I do them, I get them wrong. Well, that kind of gave me an idea of where I needed to start. Okay. But even before that, now, if you watched my other video last week, I did a guide a session on, whole numbers and the verbiage and the vocabulary of whole numbers. So you can check that back. You can check that out in the playlist if you want to. But even before you do that, why don't we see where you are? Why don't we do a little bit of a diagnostic and a confidence check to see what you're doing and see if you can, skip over a couple of things and go right into algebra, or if you do need to do a little bit of a refresher on developmental math. Okay, so I've got my notes here, and I wanted to share with you this confidence check. Okay, so I'm going to hold it up to you, and I'm also going to put it as a scrolling message for you. So this is the confidence check. Okay, and this is what you can download. It's free. You can download it, and I've got the link below for you. And it goes in different things about what you need to do to find out where exactly you are in your math journey. It's 12 pages. If you do back to back, it will be 6. And then you can put holes in it and put it in your notebook that I was talking to you about the other day in one of my other videos. And I guess what I want to talk about first is when you're taking the test, when you're doing the diagnostic, don't use a calculator. Okay. you're going to be able to use a calculator in your traditional math class, a 4-function calculator. That just means adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. So they're going to allow you to do that. But right now, if you would, try not to use a calculator, and then that way you can have an idea of what you're really, really struggling with. It could be your math facts. It could be your multiplication facts, your division facts, and things like that. And if it is, I have some strategies that I'll add in one of my next videos to help you, as you're learning all of this information. I've got some strategies that might help. But right now, if you would, don't use a calculator so you can actually see where you're going to be, okay? Now, at the very beginning, I think the first couple of pages, it just gives you a welcome, and then it introduces me. And then on the 4th page, there is going to be a link on the PDF file, not down below. It's going to be on the PDF file. In fact, let me show it. It's on the directions page, and there's a link right down there, okay? You'll be able to open that up, and that's going to take you to a form. That form is going to be the actual confidence check or diagnostic. Now, as you are doing this, make sure that you are using paper and pencil to do the problems. Then you can go in and what you could do, because on the directions, I tell you that you can actually do it on the paper, and I've given you plenty of room to do work. Okay, there's plenty of room to do work. You can do that and then transfer your answers to the form and then submit it. When you do that, you'll get your scores. And they're not really scores. You'll get your feedback immediately in your email. A scoring band is on your sheet, and I'm not going to hold it up really close, but it looks like this, and it's in your downloads. It's going to give you an idea of where you are. So if you didn't get any correct, or if you only got 0 to 5 correct, that's a section that I talk about rebuilding the foundation and what you should do. If you get 6 to 9 correct, then you're stronger than you think, and then I'm going to give you suggested next steps. If you have 10 to 12 correct, you're ready for a focused review. And then I give you some suggestions for that. If you're 13 to 15 correct, then you're career math ready with support. Okay, so that's going to give you an idea of where you are in your journey. So before you take your test, before you do your diagnostic, I want you to know a couple of things. I want you to be aware. I've got them written down here so that I won't forget them. But the first thing is that you're going to have some anxiety when you're taking this test. And again, it's not a test. It's just a confidence builder and seeing where you are in your math journey. But you're going to be anxious. When you get to a question that you don't understand, just skip over it. Don't worry about it. It's okay, because you'll learn those. But if you do think you know, you're not going to be penalized anything for guessing, and I guess you could guess. But this is one of those that I don't really particularly think that you should guess on. I think you should do the questions as you go. If you don't understand it, then just skip over it and then go from there. That way, then you'll have a true guide of where you are in your math journey. If you use a calculator, if you guess, and you have a 25% of getting it right if it's multiple choice, then you could get it right, but then you won't even know if you really knew what you were doing or if you were just guessing on it. So my suggestion is don't guess. Okay? So that's where your math anxiety is going to come in. Whether or not you're going to start thinking, well, I didn't even learn this in regular school. Well, I have to disagree with that. You did learn it. Now, does that mean that it's still in your head? Probably not. But you did learn it at one time or another because it's in the standards. And if you went to school before standards, there were a lot of things that our teachers and mine, you can tell that I'm not a spring chicken. And when I was in high school, a lot of this stuff was covered, okay? Back in the 80s. No, not 80s. Oh, my goodness. back in the 60s, whenever I was in school, it was covered. Now, a lot of things math was the last thing on my mind. So, I wasn't even interested. So if there are some things on here that you haven't seen since then, you did see it. You just probably don't remember it. Now, I want you to think about this. It's like building a house, okay? And in my other video, I talked about how math connects and builds on top of each other, all the lessons and everything. Well, that's what this is. You are going to figure out whether or not you're going to figure out where you are and why it matters on what you need to do, okay? Now, remember, math works the same way. It works the same way that it did back in the 60s. It works the same way now. They may teach it a little bit differently, and that's okay. But in the end, at your stage of your journey, you don't need to learn all the different ways. You only need to learn one way to get you to the true answer. If you want to learn all the other ways, just if you're a lifelong learner and say, oh, I remember this, but I want to learn it this way, then go for it. But if you have a goal in mind, or if you have something like a timeline that you really need to learn as much as you can before school starts back and do some research, then that's where your goal is. That's where your goal should be. Okay? All right. Let's see. Now, this is what's included in this tutorial, or not tutorial, but in this confidence check. This is what's included in the confidence check. You have whole numbers, you have fractions, decimals, percents, ratios and proportions, signed numbers, basic algebra, graphs, and statistics. Now, there's only 15 questions, so you may only get 1 or 2 questions on each one of those, but that's okay. I just wanted to give you an idea of all the different things that you might, not that you might, I wanted to explain all the different things that you will encounter in a math class going forward, okay? Now, I've already talked about using a calculator. Try not to use a calculator. Don't look up your answers online. Don't go to the back of this and get the answers that I've already offered to you. Don't do that. If I was in a high school math class or a middle school math class, I would tell the kids, don't use the answer key, don't use this, and they're going to do it anyway. That's just the way they are, okay? I already know how to do this. I'm just going to put the answers down so I can go on. But that's not the deal here. What the deal is for you is this. You have a goal in mind of passing the ASVA, of beginning to go into the medical field of some sort, going to learn to be a teacher. You have a goal in mind and you have a timeline. Don't cheat yourself and guess on this stuff and then come back and say, well, I didn't learn how to do that. And then if there's a test that you have to pass to be able to get into this, then you're not going to know how to do it. So again, don't use your calculator. Don't research the answers. Don't look at the answers at the back of the book. And remember, the goal is not perfection. It's just to find out where you're at. That's what we're doing here. Let me see what else. I want you to understand that if this is the first time you've taken a diagnostic in a long time, it's okay. It's okay. I always remembered this from my early college years or even high school years. My teachers used to say, if you have a question, don't be shy to answer or ask. Don't be shy to ask, because of the fact out of these 30 students that are in the classroom, 40% of those students have the same question. They're just not going to ask it. So just remember that if you have a question that you need to ask, put it down in the chat box so I can come back and see what those questions are. Email me if you have a question. And then that way I can have an idea of what my next lessons should be about. Okay. Now, again, this is not a lesson itself. I'm not here to teach each one of these questions and to give you the answers for them. That's not what this is about. This is just so that you can go in and see where you are in your math journey. So keep in mind that if you do have to go in and learn a little bit about fractions, then you'll know where you need to start. Check my library first, see if I have anything on there. If I don't, then the next best thing is to go to YouTube and Google it and say, or YouTube it and say, okay, how do I change mixed numbers to improper fractions? Okay. Now, what I'd like for you to do, and I'm going to put on here, please subscribe, but I want you to help me build my channel. But not only that, I want to know, I want to be able to tell you what my next lessons are. If you click on the subscribe button, or if you go into my playlist, you're going to see that I already have several things on there. One of them is this confidence check. Another one is, why do you want to go back to school in the first place? One of the lessons that I have on there is about whole numbers and verbiage. So all of that is on there, and I'm building it as we go. So if you would, go ahead and subscribe so you will know when I have uploaded something. Put it in the comments below some of the things that you struggled with. After you get finished taking this diagnostic, get in there and say, I struggled with this. I do not understand how you even go about doing that. Then what I can do is I can even do some shorts and answer those questions, 1 minute short, and answer those questions. That's what I'm here for. I'm not going to be here to test you and give you an A, B, C, or D. That's not what my whole outcome is. My outcome of this whole channel, my outcome for this whole channel is to make sure that I have helped all of the post-traditional students, non-trad students, what they were used to be called, to be able to go back into a math class when you start school and have some confidence with you. That's what my goal is. I want you to learn this, but I also want to just help you go where you need to go in order to be successful. Now is your time. Okay, I'm going to hush. I'm going to go ahead and get all of this uploaded for you. Check the link below for this sheet. Don't forget that there is a link in the PDF file for you to go to your form and complete that. And then you will get your correct answers immediately. And I will also get some answers to some of those first questions that I asked about where you are in your math class, how do you feel in your math class, and things like that. So that will give me an idea on how to proceed with my lessons and my journey of teaching you and helping you and facilitating your learning. All right, everybody, it was great talking to you today, and I'm going to go edit this and get it up to you. Have a great day, and we will chat soon.